Hey, honey, I'm home.
Hi, honey. Dinner's ready.
Oh, good. I am starving.
But you gotta go to lacrosse practice.
What? No, I just got home. I want to eat.
Yeah, but we gotta go.
Right now?
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta at least change.
Mommy, we gotta go to basketball practice.
Oh, that's right. I'll try to get things wrapped up quick so we can go.
I'm
But
starving.
we probably are gonna be late then.
Oh, okay. Well, get your shoes on.
Okay.
Who's bringing me to Bullbucks tonight?
That's tonight as well?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh.
man.
Life
Life
before
before
COVID-19.
Crazy.
Bum 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 bum.
Crazy busy. Hey, honey, I'm home. Actually, I've been home all day. I now work from home.
As you can see, before COVID-19, we were crazy busy. Now, we've had some time to relax together, play some games.
Sally's loved it.
Yeah, she has been getting lots and lots and lots and lots after lots.
And been able to do some things like plant a garden together, cook some meals together. And we would just like to say we're praying for you guys. We miss you guys. We love you guys.
We definitely do, and this, as you saw from last week, there's competitions that Max and Zach have been doing. They've been giving out some cool swag and some gift cards, and this week they're going to do a new competition. And what it is they're going to ask you guys to think about your favorite verse that has allowed you to kind of get through these tough times. And I just wanted to read the verse that our family has used during these times, and it's Philippians 4, verses 6 through 7. And it says, "Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank Him for all that He has done. Then you will experience God's peace, which exceeds anything we can understand. His peace will guard your hearts and minds as you live in Christ Jesus." So I think it's important, again, to just enjoy this time with your family, make the best of it, and more importantly, just continue to grow closer to God. We miss you guys, we love you guys, and I think somewhere on this, Max is going to post his email that you guys can send in your favorite verse that's helped you get through these times. You'll be entered in for some more cool prizes and cool swag. I think he's going to post his email up here somewhere.
No, I think it's down here.
I don't know, I thought over there.
No, it's over there.
I think it's over there. We love you guys.
Look for the email, send it in. Love you
We
guys.
never know where it is. We don't know where it is. We never do.
Yahtzee!
Yahtzee!
What is up, everybody? What is good? It is your Sunday show again. Zach and I are back. And so, yeah, we're just gonna be jumping into this week again and a couple updates on things. We don't know when church will open back up or anything like that, but we're going to be screening some awesome shirts, so at least that's on the horizon. We're going to be doing more giveaways. If you watched Wednesday's video, we had a pretty sick giveaway time. We were running around all around.
Shout out little Buffy and Emma.
Yeah. So they won some stuff. So make sure
Big time prizes. I was shocked at that.
Yeah. So
Like,
make sure that you're tuning in.
Hydro Flask, $50 in gift cards to little Buffy.
Yeah. He cleaned up, so that was awesome. And then so we might be giving away some of those shirts that we screened, some different releases, maybe some different colors. They're going to be sick. And Big Z over here drew it, so it's going to be even cooler because it's got his custom artwork on it, which is going to be awesome.
I think our logo is going to be pretty sick.
I think so.
Because I'm pulling it up on a digital maker right now, and it might be super clean. And then if we do like a 3-tone on it,
Yeah.
so it looks almost like a 3D.
Oh, that would be sick. So yeah, that's what we're going to be rolling with shortly. And then also, as always, make sure that you go down and check out the music that's on Spotify. We put those together for you guys so you can just have some sick worship music, Christian music as you're just at home or maybe doing some homework or whatever.
Totally.
So make sure that you check that out and yeah, jump on there. But back by popular demand, we have a segment that's more grilling me as a Californian. So Zach, take it away.
Yeah. You guys, the people spoke, and they love the California questions.
People did.
So I switched it up a little bit, just because we used a lot of it. We can go back to the laws. We'll probably ask some Idaho laws next time, and then we'll maybe put it up on live so you can vote which one you think it is, if it's Idaho or not. But this time we are doing Have You Been Asked That?
Oh, okay.
It's the most asked questions that people from Southern California get. So first off, we need an answer of, I'll ask you, say, yes, I've been asked this before.
Uh-huh.
And then how do you respond to it?
Okay. Easy enough.
Question number 1. We're starting it off simple. Have you been to In-N-Out?
Oh, of course. Yeah. And
How many times have you been asked that, though?
Oh, easily a million. Easily a million. And we were just having this conversation. You're not.
Well, I like In-N-Out. I just don't like their fries. I've always got them cold. I've always gotten cold fries from In-N-Out.
Do you not like the texture either? Like the size of them? There's like
no, and I've gotten animal style and I've gotten non-animal style, and like both ways. The animal style is just like they threw a piece of cheese and threw it in the microwave.
Yeah, it does seem like that.
I'm
not an animal style.
Yeah.
If I'm doing animal style, I will do it with the cheese. But the key is to get the green peppers on there too, so that it adds like another dimension. I introduced Heath to that, so shout out to Heath because he was like, I don't really get In-N-Out either. He'd only been there once, and so I was like, let me order for you and show you how it's done.
Yeah.
With the fries, the key that every California kid knows is that you do this thing called pepper up. You take the pepperoncinis, you bite it off, you squeeze the juice into the ketchup, and then you put like 40 packets of pepper into the ketchup, and then you swirl that sucker around, and for some reason it changes the game.
Oh, okay.
Because, and I'm an In-N-Out
But is that In-N-Out or is that a fan? Would you say that's In-N-Out?
No,
or is that your? But see, are you making In-N-Out better? Because is In-N-Out? Could you go do that at another restaurant and make their food also good?
Probably, but something about In-N-Out just having the random pepperoncinis there and stuff, it works.
Because I don't want to argue that's not In-N-Out because In-N-Out doesn't serve that. You're making that, so it's like, is that just the California kids classic? Which goes back. To this is
maybe Zach and I will go rate In-N-Out. Like we could take just a day trip to Salt Lake.
Oh yeah, we should. And like Zach, we could go like all the local food spots, like Zaxby's that's only there. Like
and just kind of check them out and rate them. So
we could go to Lagoon.
Let us know. Lagoon,
dude, we could go to Lagoon. Take Conrad.
Youth trip to
yeah, fun fact: I've been kicked out of Lagoon.
Oh, nice.
Not like crazy. Not for. Long story. We'll tell it another time.
Yeah, should be rad. But yeah, maybe
okay.
Lagoon trip. All right.
Question number 2. Mm-hmm. Have you been to Beverly Hills?
No.
Really?
Yes.
I see. I go to Newport a lot, but I've been to Beverly Hills.
Yeah. So I have not, and I have an aunt that has a house in Beverly Hills.
What?
Yeah. I might have actually. I don't know. I'll have to ask Jen, but not like as a touristy thing. Then it was a touristy thing because when Jen and I were living down there and going to Bible college, on the way to my brother's wedding, we stopped at this cupcake ATM.
Yeah.
Put your money in, and then a cupcake comes out, and it's open like 24 hours a day. So I've been to that. I don't know if it was in Beverly Hills or not, but my aunt lives in Beverly Hills, like up in the hills, like right down. But I've never been to her house.
That's crazy. There's this show on Netflix right now that takes place in Beverly Hills. Okay, next question. How many times have you been to Disneyland?
Oh, so my dad, before he worked as a cop and in the FBI, worked at Disneyland. So we had season passes all growing up. And so I've been there a bajillion times. I took Conrad for the first time last year, and we're planning on going on vacation. And that's going to be kind of like my birthday present.
I just went there for Christmas.
You did?
Yeah, we just spent a week down there for Christmas.
It's kind of more fun as an adult to go to Disney.
Yeah.
Not going to lie. Because you have no expectations. You're just going in, you're like, I'm going to ride some fun rides and like eat a bunch of like bad food for me. And so it's like, because I feel like there was a point where it just kind of got overhyped, or maybe I didn't like get it. Now it's like the coolest thing to just watch Conrad run around. And
I bet it's even cooler as a parent because then you get to see like the magic as a kid. Because
for sure,
Disneyland's probably one of the best places on earth.
I want, and I agree. Like I'm a huge Disneyland fan. So I want to hear though, because I hear that people aren't like they're just like, oh, it's overrated and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Instagram. We're gonna have a poll.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have a poll on In-N-Out. We're gonna make a few polls around this
Yeah.
Sunday show. So
People
make sure
love
that
the
you're
polls.
going there.
We'll do the polls.
Yeah, we'll do the polls.
Have you been asked? Have you been to Disneyland?
Oh, I get asked all the time.
And then-
or I get asked, should I go to Disneyland? It's like, obviously, yes.
Have you been asked have you ever been to Beverly Hills from California?
Yes.
Okay. 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 This is actually another question that I have because every single one of my friends that I've visited in like OC is they all have it. Did you have a swimming pool in your backyard?
I did not. So the two places I lived had community pools, like nice community pools.
Okay.
Not really the other one, not the where my parents were.
But you have to admit, every kid feels like has a pool in their backyard.
There's a ton in our neighborhood, yeah.
There's a ton. Man, there's a ton.
We lived in like this tiny townhouse, so like our backyard wasn't that big, but people would put like 1 lane pools in that like looked like an Olympic lane, just that.
Yeah.
And those were super big, and a bunch of our neighbors had them. But as far as like big pools, there was people that had some sick pools. There was this girl that went to our youth group in California, and we used to have pool parties at her house, and there was a wine cellar with a window that looked into the pool.
That's
You could,
sick.
like, go down there and look in, and it looked like you were at like.
Oh, that would be cool.
It was pretty cool because you could play charades, like underwater charades.
When I was just down in Encinitas this past summer, the person I was staying at, my friend had an infinity pool that looked over Encinitas Beach and everything. I was like, wow, this is the life. He's like 26, just living at home with his parents.
Yeah,
Hasn't worked a job, I think, ever. Moving forward, okay. So you have to say yes. So you've been asked if you've had a pool. Have you
Yes.
been? Okay. There's some other questions. Have you ever been asked if you're vegan? Because you're from California.
Yes, I have. And Jen was vegan for like 2 years.
Oh, really?
She's not Californian, but yeah. So
That's wild. Believe it or not, I was vegan for like 2 months once
that's
in Hawaii because food was just so. When I lived there, meat and like food or like protein products were just so expensive that I couldn't afford it. So I was like, oh, I'll dare myself to do it. I mean, yeah, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't my favorite thing. Is traffic really that bad?
Can be. See, I worked construction for a while. Like I worked for this door company.
Yeah.
And we did LA County, San Diego County, and Orange County. And so some days I'd have a job in San Diego, and I'd get up and like have to leave at 5 to try to beat traffic, and then I get stuck in traffic at like noon all the way to LA, and I get home. So there was days that I would leave my house at 5 o'clock in the morning and not get home till like 8:30 or 9, and I'd only done like 2 kind of small jobs. I just sat in traffic the rest of the day.
Do you get paid by the hour?
Yeah, I got paid.
Oh, that's sick though.
But yeah, and David, the dude that does worship for us, came on camp and everything like that. He worked with me, and we've been stuck in major traffic to the point where we were just like, we were so bored and out of our minds. We've been stuck in traffic for hours. But is it that bad? I don't know. It feels like...
But you've lived there long enough, you know how to get around. Like, so you leaving early in the morning.
Oh, yeah. Like, you just know when to drive, when not to drive. The thing is like, it feels like Eagle Road traffic, like that, you know, like where everybody's just kind of like, it takes a while. But it's just longer distances or longer stretches. Okay. So it feels really bad. They put a different road in to get to the beach. That used to be like the main way I hit traffic.
Yeah.
And so now there's this like secret back way that nobody knows about. And it's awesome. So now when I like go to my parents' house, I don't even go on the freeway ever.
Okay.
Like, unless I'm going to see my brother, but he usually comes down. So it's like I get to my parents' house, and then it's like the In-N-Out's there, the Mexican place I always go and eat's there, and then the beach is like a couple miles.
Which leads me into my next question: is do people ask you if you went to the beach every single day?
Yes, and I did for a while because I surfed like. I mean, I would say probably 5 times a week there in high school. So for like 4 years, I went like.
Well, you were on a surf team too, so
yeah,
it
was pretty sick.
Major flex.
Yeah, major flex. So yeah, I went to the beach probably more than the average human. You know what's funny is like, and I just don't even understand this, but out of all of my friends there, I got everybody into surfing. They weren't into surfing,
and
they lived there, and they got into it in like high school. Some people don't even go to the beach for months.
Trendsetter, you are.
Well, no, I'm not even like that. But I'm like, how do you have something that like very few people on this earth have, like coastline that's beautiful and has good waves, and never try to surf?
Oh yeah.
I don't get it. Because you lived in Kauai and that was like instant. Did you just like get there and were like, I need to go surf?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you just live in a place where, you don't, I wasn't going to take it for granted. So I had to take every chance I could get. But like even here, like we started surfing the river wave and it's like, like how many places have a river that you can go surf a wave? I'm not saying it's anything compared to an ocean, but it's fun. Like
I need to get out there.
I know. We'll get you out there.
Sick.
Once they open it up or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
The final question.
Oh, I'm
have
excited.
you been asked and have you met a celebrity? Have you ever been asked, have you met a lot of celebrities because you're from California?
Mm-hmm.
And what celebrities have you met, if so?
Man, I've been asked that a lot. Like
Besides me, of course.
And I want to say I don't think I've like ever met any celebrities.
Really?
I can't think of any famous people. No, because it's not like I lived in Hollywood, and it's not like they stay in Hollywood.
Yeah.
They get out of there. But like, no, nobody like cool or like that famous or anything. So no.
I didn't meet a lot. Well, I like said hi to a lot in Kauai because a lot of people have houses on Kauai.
Mm-hmm.
So like where we'd go surfing.
But it's so much smaller. I think there's
it's so much smaller.
Millions of people in Los Angeles.
Totally.
So your idea of seeing, because that was what's funny about doing the mission trip is like the kids are like, do you think we're gonna see anyone famous? I was like, guarantee you won't. like you're gonna see a lot of people on the street, but you're not gonna see anyone famous.
No, that's true. Yeah, because we used to we surfed under Don Glover's house, and I met like Dan Blistarian and like all these weirdos.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, I don't know. Yeah, I guess Kauai is so small and it's so like condensed and packed in certain places that you have a really high chance of running into somebody.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
But California, I can see it the other way around. Because there's so many people.
Yeah.
So many people. But, all right.
Well, yeah, that does it for this portion of the Sunday show. So make sure that you're staying tuned and checking out the rest of what is going on. Zach's going to be bringing you a chapter out of Philippians, so we're going to be on it.
Chapter 2.
Make sure you're staying safe. We love you guys, and we miss you guys. Make sure you stay tuned.
Immensely.
Learn some stuff, and we're going to figure out other ways to connect with you guys. Peace.
Welcome back, guys. So excited to one day be in front of you guys and be hanging out with you guys in person, face to face, because right now I am on a back patio and it's raining, and the only thing I have around me are some birds that are chirping. I actually saw some baby geese are roaming around, floating behind their mom, and then there's some baby ducks that I guess my mom saw somewhere. I haven't seen them yet, so if you see me like go really quickly, I'll try and maybe get a little recording of them in this. But yeah, I'm up here in Garden Valley. It's currently raining, but the sun is out. I guess you can't really see it over here, but directly above me I have a little roof covering, but then above that there's some blue sky, so I think this rain will dissipate pretty quick. But it's such a beautiful thing when it rains, just the green and just the colors that come out of it. I'm just always fascinated by that. It's always super cool. And so I hope those baby geese found some covering and are staying warm somewhere. But yeah, let's get started. I'm in Philippians 2. So before we start reading, I'll just say a quick prayer and then we can get started. So dear Heavenly Father, just thank you so much for you and for your son and for this gift of life that we get to live and see things change as we come into spring. We get to see the colors come out and the little babies being born. So yeah, God, may you just continue to remind us of the beauty in this world, because sometimes it can just seem so depressing. But there's so much life and so much love. So continue to show us that as we go through this week, and just be with me as I talk about obedience to you. And what does that mean? And so, in your name. But no. All right, so let's open up our Bible. So we're in Philippians 2 because Max talked about Philippians 1 yesterday. Mine's all like wrinkly because I was out in the rain. And I was setting up, and then it just started pouring. And so I bet it's going to stop in a second. Yeah, the sun's kind of peeking through, but yeah, here we go. So I think it's really cool how we're going right into Philippians after Easter, and just the significance it has because of the story of Jesus. And so actually in chapter 2, Paul kind of gives, there's not like a one set reason for Philippians. He's just wanting encouragement and obedience for the Christians in Philippi. But there is like kind of a center foundation to all of Philippians, I guess. And that would be the gospel, that little like gospel message and poem that Paul writes in 6 through 11. And then he kind of talks about what does it mean to be obedient. So I'm going to read 5 through 11, chapter 2, verse 5 through 11, then we're just going to kind of go through it from there. So let's get started. Have this in mind among yourselves, which is yours in Christ Jesus, who though he was in the form of God, did not count equality with God a thing to be grasped, but emptied himself by taking the form of a servant, being born in the likeness of men, and being found of death, even death on a cross. Therefore, God has highly exalted him and bestowed on him the name that is above every name, so that at the name of Jesus every knee should bow, in heaven and on earth and under the earth, and every tongue confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the Father. Now, I think, if we are to memorize, like, if we should think about memorizing anything, I think it's just that quick little verse. Maybe we can do that, and just because that's such an importance to who we are as Christians, that we see God and in summary come down, this divine, like the man who created the God who created everything, right, comes down and is like, I'm gonna humble myself and be a man. And he doesn't do it in a way that like Hercules or Zeus or all these other theoretical like gods do it in their stories, where they come onto a mountaintop and take over this like evil other god, or defeat these massive dragons and cut off their, like, he doesn't do that. Our God comes down and is born in a manger, right, in a stable, which is such a dirty and low place, that as we know. And then but God continues to kind of live that out, and he continues to he goes to the people that were hated, and he humbles himself. He doesn't go and hang out with kings because he's like, oh, well, I am God, like I deserve to be treated as God, so I should be the king of all. These people should worship me every day. And he doesn't. He goes to the farthest out and hangs out with them and gives them love. And it's this attitude of being a servant. And that's kind of where Paul, continues to go into the story with 12. He says, therefore, my beloved, as you have obeyed, so now, not only as in the presence, but much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling, for it is God who works in you, both to do the work of his good pleasure. That God is calling us to live in that same way of attitude and service, because it's through our humility and our humbling ourselves that we can obey Christ. And he goes on to explain about how, he gives 2 examples. Paul gives 2 examples later down, where it's, Timothy, and he talks highly about Timothy, how he's young and he's just this servant at heart and going out to people, preaching the word. But then there's also this other guy, who's Epaphroditus, in 25, who served Paul, who brought Paul gifts while he was in prison, and food and all these other things. But he was just so thankful for Epaphroditus. But in doing that, Epaphroditus, he risks, his life, and actually takes on this really bad illness, which everyone thought he was going to die from, and because of his service, that he kind of put himself at risk, and he gets really sick and is going to pass away. But God finds favor in him and serves him, and so just this idea of service. And so I want to tell a story before really taking it in. There's this guy, his name is Sasha, that I had the pleasure of meeting when I was in Ukraine. And there are lots of Sashas, so I think his last name was Gusakov. It's not Utkin, but whatever. It's this guy. And so he does this thing called Young Life Capernaum, which is hanging out with special needs kids, kids with disabilities, and just hanging out with them and telling them the gospel, because, such as we see, like everyone needs the gospel. It doesn't matter who or like how you are, if you're disabled or if you're able, you need the gospel. And so he takes that calling upon himself, and he's in a former Soviet Union country, and during this time he's trying to, Young Life is really trying to get started because they wanted to preach the gospel. But at this time, the government was constantly breaking things up. Every time they'd get together, have meetings, the secret police would find out, and then they'd come bust it up and threaten lives, or put people in jail. And so they didn't know what to do or how to act, because they wanted, they didn't want their people risking too much of their life, or they just wanted to share the gospel, right? So they're trying to figure out what they can do. Well, Sasha Gusick, what is his? I don't know his last name. I'm just gonna say Sasha. So Sasha, he's starting this Capernaum and starting to hang out with these kids with special needs, and just serving them. And every once a month, it wasn't even like every single week. It was just once a month. They would have this one night where all these special needs kids and disabled kids would come together, and they're like at someone's house, or a business or somewhere, and they just hang out and have fun. And just play games, watch a movie, and talk about life. And it was incredible. And they're doing all these really crazy things, super fun. But then, while they were doing that, the governor, kind of the leader of that area, finds Sasha and says, "You need to come to me. You need to talk to me," and kind of in like not in a grumpy way, but he just calls upon Sasha. So Sasha gets really scared for his life, because he's like, whoa, why is the governor, everything has been being shut down before, and am I going to be in trouble? Am I going to be put in prison because we were told we weren't supposed to be doing this? And so he has the chance to like possibly run away so he doesn't get busted or get in trouble. But he kind of humbles himself and says, what? Maybe I can just share the gospel with the governor. Maybe I can do this. Maybe I can do that. And so he kind of takes on this idea of like, hey, no matter what, if I'm getting arrested, or if I'm going to be humiliated, or if I'm, whatever's going to happen, it's going to happen. But I want to serve God in this. So what he does is, the time comes, he waits, and then he goes to see the governor, or the leader of this area. And so the governor pulls him in. And Sasha, not knowing what happens next, the governor breaks down and cries to Sasha and says, it was the first time, and he says this to Sasha, last week was the first time that me and my wife had ever been able to go on a real date, or just the two of us. Because Sasha didn't even know this, but their son was 21 years old and was disabled. And so every day when the governor would come home, he would have to take care of his son. And his wife was just constantly with his son, having to take care of him and do all these things for him. And so, and that was just their life. And so that they were never able to do anything on their own, or never able to go on dates or hang out or do all these things, just the two of them. They were always having to take care of their son. But then lo and behold, this Sasha guy comes through and holds this, Capernaum, where they hang out and just welcome these special needs kids in. And it just so happens that the governor's son was able, someone was able to find out, the wife, or, a wife's friend was able to tell them about it. And so they were able to take their son and let their son hang out with all these other kids that were just like them, and just love them. And so after that moment, the governor talks to Sasha and says, hey, anything you need, if you need protection, we'll give it to you. If you need help, we'll give it to you. If you need a place, we'll give it to you. But continue to do what you're doing. Just because Sasha understood this idea of obedience and went out and obeyed the Lord, and by loving the kids that aren't loved, and loving the people that don't find the need to. And then God was able to restore them in that. And now Young Life Capernaum is actually thriving in this country. And Young Life in general is thriving because, you know, now instead of having the police show up to protect them, they show, or to stop them and to break them apart, the police show up to protect them and to make sure they're safe and that they can do what they need to be and do what they need. And so the gospel is being able to reach all these people. And I just was really dwelling on that story during this verse, because Sasha was obedient to Christ and lived a life in Christ, and still doing so, and still meeting with these people, and still pushing the boundaries of other countries in ways that they can share the gospel with these kids. And I find it so important in these times too, because we think about who wrote this letter, right? Paul wrote this letter. Where was Paul? Paul was in house arrest for the majority of his life. At this moment, Paul was in a Roman prison, you know, about to be killed. And yet Paul was able to write so much of the New Testament. So I think it's so ironic how we're studying, you know, this guy's writings from prison as we're kind of in house arrest ourselves, and not able to go out and do things. But I just want to encourage you guys to go out and love people like Christ did. And as we read this and we continue on with looking more, we get to be obedient to God. If that's just, you know, loving your parents by like doing the dishes or cleaning up, or like love your grandparents by calling them and checking in on them, and just humbling ourselves and giving up our time just to serve those around us and serve those of us, you know, who are unfortunate. You know, is it calling your friends and just asking them how they're doing? Is it calling, you know, family members, or like what is it to us that we can still serve with respects to what's going on? You know, is that just reading the Bible, or is that, you know, I think there's so much that can be done. For Paul wrote most of his, you know, scriptures from prison. So what is it that we can do through Christ? And so, yeah, as we go into this week, I just pray for you guys that we continue to see beautiful moments and beautiful things and through Christ, and may we just serve him and worship him as we go throughout this week. So yeah, that is it. I'm going to pray and then we'll close out. So dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for your son again, and thank you for people such as Sasha who are being like Christ and loving others the way that your son loved. So may we do the same and love others as Christ loved us. In your heavenly name, amen. All right, guys, have a great week. It stopped raining, so I'm going to go get some more work done. Love you all.
See what you can do, oh God of wonders. Your power has no end. Things you've done before, in greater measure, you will do again. 'Cause there's no prison wall you can't break through, no mountain you can't move. All things are possible. There's no broken body you can't raise, no soul that you can't save. All things are possible. The darkest night, you can light it up. You can light it up. God of revival, let hope arise. Death is overcome, and you already won. God of revival, you rose in victory, and now you're seated forever on the throne. trust in you alone. 'Cause there's no prison wall you can't break through, no mountain you can't move. All things are possible. There's no broken body you can't raise, no soul that you can't save. All things are possible. The darkest night, you light it up, you light it up. The God of revival, the darkest night, you can light it up, you light it up. God of revival, the hope arise, death is overcome, you've already won. God of revival, hope arise, death is overcome, you've already won. The God of revival, come awaken your people, come awaken your city. Oh God of revival, pour it out, pour it out. Every stronghold will crumble, hear the chains hit the ground. Oh God of revival, pour it out, pour it out. Come awaken your people, come awaken your city. Oh God of revival, pour it out, pour it out. Every stronghold will crumble, hear the chains hit the ground. Oh God of revival, pour it out, pour it out. Darkest night, you light it up, you light it up. God of revival, let hope arise, death is overcome, you've already won. God of revival, the darkest night, you light it up, you light it up. Oh God of revival, let hope arise, death is overcome, you've already won. God of revival.
Saturday was silent, surely it was through. But since when has impossible ever stopped you?